It's time to change self-doubt into corporate success. For 20 years now, I've been running my software reselling and implementation firm. And you would think that at 20 years, I've overcome that self-doubt. But in reality, here's the truth. Every year, that voice in my head, that voice that says, who do you think you are? Like being able to do these things, and you don't deserve that. That voice, by the way, we all have it. The voice of self-doubt actually gets louder with every year. And here's the reality. The business world, the world as a whole, has changed dramatically in recent times. And if our business is not changing, we're probably going to, at some point, go out of business. With the invention of AI and just everything that's going on in the world today, as a business leader, we need to step up and embrace change and lead with change. But every time that we take that step, that voice in our head, it pops up. And it says, who do you think you are? And I'm going to tell you that there's this thing. That voice, it's called imposter syndrome. And it does not show up when you're just living status quo, doing the same things you've always done to be successful. When it shows up is when you start to challenge yourself. You start to try new things. You try and introduce new product offerings and lead your company through change and transition. That's when the voice shows up. For me personally, it shows up when I'm deciding to take that big leap and to try something new. You know what? Here's the thing. I've had a lot of excuses in my life. Have you? I'm too busy to be able to implement that change, or we don't have the resources or the time, or we don't have the budget, we don't have the consulting dollars to start that new project. These are all excuses to live in a life of status quo instead of implementing and making big transitions. Some other things that we do personally is we might think we need more certifications or credentials, or I have to learn more before I can ask for the raise or the new position. By the way, again, these are all your ego showing up to keep you safe so that you don't embrace that big step, that leap to do something bigger and bolder and create your legacy. So here's a little secret. For 20 years, I have suffered with self-doubt and that little voice, and I journal and I do everything I can. I go for long hikes just to try and address that voice in my head. And I realized that as I've been giving over the last few months these imposter syndromes webinars, which, by the way, we have one coming up very shortly on Thursday that I'd love for you to join us at. But as I've been having these, it really helps me reflect on my own self-doubt, my own imposter syndrome. And that's why I'm here to tell you that on Thursday will be my last imposter syndrome webinar for this year. My last publicly presented webinar on imposter syndrome. And the reason for that is because I've been slacking. I've been living in status quo, and I'm not going to do it anymore. A 20-year mark in your business really is a time of reflection to look back and say, what did I learn? Where do I want to go? And do I want to keep doing it like I'm doing in the next 10, 20 years? And for me, my answer was no. You see, for 20 years, Lodestar Solutions has been implementing budgeting and planning and forecasting software and other analytic tools to help clients become more successful. And we did that. We helped clients streamline their budgeting and forecasting process. They've had great wins, but I never really felt fulfilled. I always had this nagging feeling like I wasn't doing enough for our clients. And recently, it really became apparent when I was talking to a CEO friend who used to be a CFO and got kind of promoted. And I asked, if you could have one wish to change, I gave you one wish and you could change anything regarding your planning processes, what would it be? And the answer came back as, Heather, I just want the budget to look more like reality. And I think any of us that are in the budgeting and planning process, despite implementing the best tools and streamlining and having these great things like IBM Planning Analytics, what we realize is there's a foundational error in budgeting. Let's be honest, budgeting sucks. Nobody's like, yay, budgeting. I can't wait, right? And why is that? Because as soon as we do it, it's out of date. So you felt like you spent all this time, months of resources to put this thing together that you know isn't really real. And so for literally 20 years, I've had this concept in my head, this framework on how to solve the budgeting process for corporations. And I haven't done anything with it. You see, that imposter syndrome, that voice in my head said, Heather, who do you think you are that you can go help change the budgeting process in corporate America? And today I'm announcing that's not going to be the case anymore. I am not going to let the imposter syndrome win. I'm going to overcome it. And so this Thursday is our last webinar publicly on imposter syndrome so that I and my team can start to really focus on bringing the Office of Finance a revamped, revitalized approach to budgeting and forecasting. So we're super excited, but I really want you to think about, where are you living the life of status quo? Where are you maybe playing a little small? Where do you have this vision in your life? And I don't care whether it's personal. Maybe you want to own a second home in the mountains, or maybe it's something business related. But we all have that vision, that goal, that dream that we want to chase, that we haven't taken action. You see, knowledge is not power, guys. You can learn all you want, but knowledge is not power. Action is power. Taking that knowledge that you have, that you've learned, and actually doing something with it. And here's the thing, we're not going to be perfect. We will fail. I hate that word. I don't use that word. I call it learning experiences. We will have a ton of learning experiences, but that's how transformation happens. So hopefully you guys got a little nugget, a little inspiration out of this today. And I hope you join us on Thursday. That's this coming Thursday, and it will be our last imposter syndrome. So register. I'll put the link in the comments below, and I hope to see you there. And guys, go chase your dreams. Go make it happen. That project you've been thinking about, take one small action to get it in motion. I'm Heather Cole with Lodestar Solutions, and we will see you Thursday.